Hey, I'm Butterfly.
Hey, I'm Firefly.
Have you ever wondered if we aren't being told the truth about everything?
What have we been lied to about? Join us as we have conversations and ask questions about everything. We invite you to keep an open mind and consider the unfathomable.
Let's break the chains that enslave our minds. Come on, let's go down the rabbit hole. Hey, Firefly, what's up?
Hey, Butterfly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited because we have a cool topic to talk about today.
We do. So I think in our last episode we were talking about how maybe everything is scripted or most things are
Yeah,
scripted.
yeah.
And, you know, I guess another episode in the script could be, um, well, what do you think about
Direct
directed
energy
energy
weapons.
weapons?
I think they're real, and I think that we're being told nothing to see here.
Hmm. So I don't know. I think it's really interesting how there's been so many so-called natural disasters
Yeah.
in the recent years.
Well, it's because humans are bad and my Honda's really evil.
Right. Well, that's the story that they're selling to
That's right.
the cult members is that all of these natural disasters are happening because of climate change,
Hmm.
and there's so much climate change now that it's causing a lot of like fires and floods and
And
you know
climate hasn't changed in throughout history at
no,
all.
no,
It's just now.
no. It's well, I mean,
And like we were talking
yeah.
about before, 400 billion years of Earth, but now my Honda is really doing us in.
Exactly. Because I guess the climate didn't really change that much with the dinosaurs, or maybe it did. I don't know. But, you
Well,
know,
their farts were very, very toxic, apparently.
and so
That's probably what did it.
maybe that's what ended their whole saga.
They farted and then the meteor came.
Because we've kind of got the same thing going on now with the cows.
That's right.
Did you hear how Bill Gates wants to control the cow farts because
Yes.
the farts that the cows are doing are causing too much toxic emissions, and this is all adding to the whole climate change debacle.
And that's what causes metal to melt in these direct energy weapons fires, because, a fire caused by climate change burns with such intensity that metal actually melts into the ground. I didn't realize that.
I know
Climate change is gnarly.
it's gnarly. It melts metal, but strangely enough, it leaves some other things like not burned.
Yeah, like if you have a blue climate change over, look, it's kind of like COVID. Climate change is kind of like COVID. It has these
Yeah,
arbitrary rules that it follows,
right.
and they just happen to keep perfectly along with the narrative that CNN's saying.
Exactly.
It's weird how
It
it
is
works that way.
it is weird.
Like they know how climate change thinks.
So it seems that a lot of the really wealthy people in Maui had blue roofs
Yeah.
and their houses didn't burn.
And nothing to see here.
No.
It was just Bill Gates and Oprah and The Rock. And then weren't
Yeah.
they like right there saying, give money to the recovery effort?
They could have just written a check.
What I heard about Maui was kind of gnarly too, is like 3,000 kids died.
Oh my
And they're
gosh.
saying we never even got told how many people died. They just kind of said, oh, 200 people died. Okay, let's move on now.
Right.
And what's going on in sports
And
today?
here's $700 for each of you.
Oh, $700. Well,
Yeah.
that's nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah,
You can go out for dinner a couple times with that. You know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's what they gave those people,
Yeah.
$700.
You lose your house, but hey, here's like one night at a hotel.
So it seems like the same kind of thing just happened recently in LA, like in Pacific Palisades, where that whole area burned down. And I just have to wonder if, you know, they're burning down these cool little areas that were full of community and small businesses. And that's why they want to get rid of them. And they're going to like move in and turn these
Well,
areas into
a little
15-minute
birdie
cities.
told me that that was the plan, like both Maui and LA are slated for these like timelines of by 2028 they want to be like model 15-minute cities
Mhm.
where everybody's just kind of like corralled into these little coffin apartments,
Yeah.
and you've got a shopping mall attached to your apartment,
And there's cameras everywhere watching your every move.
every move, and you just eat bugs and watch porn, and that's your life, and
And
you're
have
stuck.
your virtual glasses. What are those called? Where you can like sit on your couch and
Yeah, yeah,
think that
you're
you're on vacation somewhere with
exactly,
yeah.
and that's all you need. I mean, it's all good, and
That's
there's nothing to see here. And the LA Olympics are coming in 2028.
um
So that was another thing that I think they were kind of like,
they want
okay,
to get it
well,
lined up in time for that.
yeah, because that's going to be like when they're going to
It's going to be the
showcase.
showcase for the
They'll be
world.
like, and LA is the city of the future now.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, look at this big 15-minute city we've built. And they've got
Mhm.
like, 10,000 people living right on top of each other.
It's happening all around us.
Because what was Pacific Palisades like? I mean, I grew up growing there. I mean, it was big, huge, single family homes
Yeah, and
with big lawns and like
it was beautiful. And
lawns are horrible.
yeah,
It's such a waste of carbon and water.
and all that. Yeah, all that
How
water.
dare you have a
Yeah.
lawn?
But Pacific Palisades was actually full of community. There was a kind of a real community there. It
All
was
the rock stars and the Hollywood people, the cool people always lived there.
yeah.
They knew what was up because Pacific Palisades, if you look at LA, I mean, if you had all the money in the world, that's the coolest place to live.
It was pretty cool. But I mean, they had like some nice little schools and little small businesses, little boutiques and
Yeah.
individually owned things,
I never thought about that.
Yeah, and I think they want to do away with all of that. They want everybody
Yeah.
shopping at Target and major department stores or online mostly.
So, what is a direct energy weapon? Now, my understanding is it was designed in Israel about 10, 15 years ago, and it's this it's this thing that floats around on satellites, and they can actually just focus it.
They can aim it.
They can aim it,
Mhm.
and the difference between a direct energy weapon fire in Maui and LA, which I believe they were, is in a wildfire, um, structures don't get completely disintegrated down to the basement, and cars don't melt, you know? And then there was also all these other anomalies. I don't know if you saw, like, the water was shut off in Maui, the water was shut off in LA, and they have these weird leftist mayors that just happen to be like, helping the situation, cutting funding here or whatever.
It's like a lot of the other topics that we talk about, how there's just way too many coincidences.
Yeah.
And when there are so many coincidences lining up in one direction, it starts making me ask questions.
Well, you
You
have to
know,
have cognitive dissonance to just go, oh no,
no, it's okay.
this is climate change.
Yeah. There, it's just a coincidence that there was no water. It's just a coincidence that they didn't send any firefighters out to the first day of whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, just a coincidence. But I think that's a lot of coincidences.
And they're kind of in your face about it. Did you see that like one video clip of like the firemen that literally are like taking water in some lady's purse and dumping it on the fire?
Yeah.
Like just like, there's a raging inferno that's like 50,000 acres and he's just like, "Oh, but I'm going to put out this shrub right here with like water from a purse." And I think that's all part of the script. You know what I'm saying?
I almost wonder if that wasn't even like some actors, that they got out there to do that
Yeah.
because it was good PR and it was good, like a good little news story. So they could say, look what that nice fireman is doing.
Because that becomes the narrative, right? It's don't pay attention to what we just did. We just burnt down a large swath of
city.
Los Angeles.
Mm.
And don't pay attention to the fact that we did that. I want you to focus on the first responders
Mhm.
and look at how if you listen to KLOS, they're always talking about like in LA, they're always talking about how everybody's coming together and really contributing to help. And that becomes like the story.
Right.
Focus on the virtue signaling of like Celine Dion gave $1 million. It's like, who cares? What happened? What happened was, those places burnt down to the ground. Like, why were those houses along the water line in Malibu just burnt to a crisp too?
Exactly. And do you know what I heard? I heard that Gavin Newsom, the wonderful governor of
The
California,
werewolf?
the werewolf, I heard that he's changing all the zoning. So, like, it's probably going to end up happening is those people that even if they had enough insurance to cover the loss of their homes, which some of these people will end up finding out that they don't, because that's what ends up happening in a lot
Yeah.
of these things. But even if they do, he's going to be like, oh, sorry, but
Zoning
it's
rules.
not going to be single homes anymore. We're actually
Yeah.
going to be doing apartment buildings
Yeah,
here.
nothing to see there.
Yeah,
And then also nothing to see with like people who had fire insurance for 45 years and then 1 month before the fire, the insurance
they
company just
cancel.
neglected to let them know that we no longer carry fire
Yeah.
insurance.
Well, that was another coincidence.
That's just a complete coincidence.
Yeah,
Climate change, nothing to see here. Move on and
right.
quit being a conspiracy theorist. It's like, well, wait a second. I mean, are they just doing a land grab? Same thing in Maui.
Well,
Maui, the guys, from what I understand, they didn't want to sell to
mhm.
Oprah and The Rock and Bill Gates.
So they just burned them out.
So they just said, look, that's kind of BlackRock's involved too. You
Hmm.
always see BlackRock like hovering like some big like lizard like crouched over the
Hmm.
situation.
And if you don't want to sell, that's okay. We have ways of making you leave.
We burn your house down and probably kill you in it.
Well, we
Malibu, I mean, not Malibu, Maui was gnarly too. They kind of corralled the traffic into the fire.
right, but that was a coincidence too.
It just was such a fiasco
Yeah,
and it had to be just an accident. But like, the number of people who died in Maui, I've heard is like way higher than the official report.
I don't think they are ever gonna tell us the whole story.
No. And what happened there was they burnt down their house, probably killed a lot of them, and now they'll go buy their property for pennies on a dollar.
Right,
And Maui is going to be another one of those 15-minute cities in paradise.
right,
Come live in Maui and just, but the thing about the 15-minute city is getting back to what we're talking about. That's the digital prison.
right.
The 15-minute city is the physical manifestation of your digital prison.
They're gonna keep you in this little small area. You'll probably be allotted so many miles that you can drive if you can even leave your 15-minute city,
Yeah.
and then
You get like a special pass to
to
go
leave like
leave
twice
like
a
a
month.
few times a year,
Yeah.
you know?
And your electric car will just be turned off at some point if you try to go too far.
Or
So,
how about if you have a conversation like we're having? Like, what would
well,
happen?
our
We'd get voted off
our
Pleasure
stuff
Island.
our stuff will all be turned off.
We're totally turned off.
We're turned off.
You're just like homeless, and then they just have a dew weapon just burn you to
They're
death
like
on
there
the.
there they are. Firefly, butterfly.
Yeah, once you've gone run afoul of the coal, you have no home, you have no food, so you're just like in the gutter, and then they just direct energy weapon
They
you,
find you
and
and
they
they
just
zap you.
okay, you're gone.
Zap them.
I think that's pretty much what the plan is, you
I
know?
think so too. So yeah, I what I kind of heard was that the fires from those are more like it's kind of like microwave. It's like they're microwaving all
Yeah.
these places, nuking them. And I guess certain things don't burn with those kind of, but okay, so I do have a
You're talking
question.
about the blue roofs and the
The
blue trash can, and
Yeah,
then the one girl's like the surfer girl's blue bus that was just like
yeah.
surrounded by miles and miles of devastation, but her bus was like untouched.
And then like some of the things they would find on the street, like a jacket or something, like a blue jacket, like just not
Yeah,
burnt. But
there's
okay,
nothing fishy there.
I do have a question about that though, that goes against our conspiracy.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, so if it's burning because only certain things are burning because they're microwave fires, in other words, but isn't a fire essentially a fire? I mean, if it's a flame and something's burning, wouldn't something
I think
next
those
to
things
it
are
be?
gnarly heat and they do turn into fire.
Yeah,
Turns into an inferno,
right.
but it's an inferno burning with intense gnarly heat.
So,
Way
so
gnarlier than just like if it was a wildfire. That's my
right.
understanding.
Yeah.
It's intense, like focused, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but they came up with this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, it's definitely not natural or normal.
It doesn't feel that
It's
way.
and it's not
And
real.
if you follow the money, you can kind of see why they do it.
Hmm.
That's not a coincidence either.
No. I mean, somebody needs to look into all those coincidences.
They kind of
You
are.
know,
Have you noticed that the Pacific Palisades fire, it's like, okay, a third of LA just burned down, but hey, let's move on. Super Bowl time.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like everything just gets forgotten.
And then,
Like,
or if you hear anything about it, it's always just like, oh, everybody's so generous. And oh, look at how LA's coming together. And look at all these celebrities who gave money. It's like, that's not the point. What the hell just happened?
right.
I was born in LA. You
It,
guys burnt like a third of my city this morning.
it's like everybody just kind of forgets things within like a couple weeks. And I think that's also the reason why they put out these new disasters all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, put out a new crisis and
A
then
few
you'll
weeks
forget
ago was
about the,
forever ago.
yeah, you'll forget. I mean, people have like the attention span of a gnat. So, if you're listening to one crisis and then like 2 weeks later, some new crisis happens and you're probably just going to forget about the crisis from
Yeah,
2 weeks
like
ago.
I bet you there's people who lost their homes, but they're like in the Trump cult, and they're just like, "Yes, I lost my home, but Trump and Doge, they got
Yeah,
balls.
we're going to be more efficient now.
We have DEI out of the way. I lost my home, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm probably not going to ever get to rebuild it because Gavin Newsom said no.
Right.
You know, that guy is such a werewolf.
He
What the
is
hell?
so
What a
gross.
scumbag!
He's so gross.
Why?
I don't
Why
know.
is that guy like again like perched over us like a lizard, just like I rule you?
That's what he is. Well, he's Nancy Pelosi's nephew,
Yeah,
and she's
she's
been
such a
voted into
lizard.
office for 80 years
She's a
consecutively.
Skeksis. She's a Skeksis. Did you ever see The Dark Crystal?
No.
You never saw that movie
Uh-huh.
from 1984? It was like the puppets. And they
No.
had the Skeksis, and the Skeksis was like this, like weird creature who talk like this. But then there was like the Emperor Skeksis was like on his deathbed, and
Ew.
you see with his dying breath, he's like, "I'm still Emperor." And then
That's
like
horror.
he dies like clinging to the wand of power, and it totally is Nancy.
That's her.
Have you seen
Yeah.
like whenever she gives any kind of a press conference, which she still does, which is courageous of her, one eye's going off this way and the other eye's going over here. And it's like, what the hell is going on?
No, I think maybe the Botox in her eyebrows are like,
Her and Maxine Waters are just
yeah.
like full on. They almost seem unhuman. They seem like they're, like lizards being rolled out there before us. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder.
And Gavin is just like, I'm related.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not nepotism at all.
Nothing.
No. I mean, and she keeps winning the election all the time. Does she keep getting voted in like every year?
She's doing such a good job.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
even like the millennials and like the 25-year-olds, they keep voting for these old ladies.
Of course.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to see with her becoming a multi-millionaire with stock trading through her husband on insider trading.
No.
That didn't happen.
Didn't Martha Stewart go to jail for that?
Yeah, Martha.
She
But
was like kind of like the fall guy for a while.
I'm wondering if she's just like another.
Maybe she got voted off the island.
She's another one of those that like, okay, your role's been done now.
Yeah.
We don't need to see your cooking shows anymore.
Your episode is up.
You and Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy are going to hang out on a special island that we have for you.
Oh my gosh.
So, anyways, I think that was a pretty good, when it comes to dues, there's a lot more to learn. But I think from Maui and LA, there's definitely enough there for us to go, I think it's due.
It's enough for us to ask questions
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, why would they be doing it? And then the other thing too is not only the 15-minute cities, but it's climate change. Remember?
Well, so like I was telling you earlier, I can see why these cult members believe that, like all these natural disasters are happening because of climate change. And it just kind of sells their story even further, And so when you try to have a conversation like this with some people, they just cannot go there, because to
It's
them,
too
they
much
see
of a
climate
jolt,
change.
you know.
Yeah.
They're just like, my world makes sense, okay? And then you plant something like that, and their whole worldview goes, and they go, no, 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 I'm just going to put it back together.
Yeah.
And you go, but wait, there's a lot of anomalies. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
You
I
know
don't
what
want
I'm
to hear
saying?
about the coincidences.
Yeah.
It's just a coincidence.
And it's like,
Climate change is real.
you know, and then you see Gavin Newsom. Every time there's a fire, he goes and stands like where there's ash still like falling on him. And
They
he's
probably
like
have somebody off camera, like pouring little.
throwing it on him.
Yeah.
And then he's just
He's
sitting
like,
there, and he's always
my
like
hair.
the tough guy. The debate about climate change is over. Remember?
I am climate change.
Yeah, he is climate change. That's right. Dr. Fauci is science, and he is
He's
climate change. Yeah. Well, you know. So, anyways, I think the do thing, a lot to still be discovered,
A lot.
but wonder what they're going to burn down next.
Yeah, what's getting burned next? It could be anything. Where do they need another 15-minute scene?
It could be like once they find out where we're recording this from, could be the next place.
They'll be like, that's a good place for some
I think I'm just get blue roofing, like covering me all everywhere I go.
Like a blue hat everywhere. Maybe.
Yeah, like a blue umbrella.
Yeah.
Just like the dews can't get me. It's my dew blocker.
But I think, what it all boils down to again is that this is what they want to get us digitally enslaved.
Yeah.
They want us to be controlled into a small area, and we're all tracked, traced, monitored on camera.
Well, we're gonna find out if we're on the right track, which I know we are, when 3 years rolls by and we have the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, which I think the Olympics are totally cult.
They're totally cult.
Totally cult.
Do you remember the opening ceremonies of the last one?
Oh, you mean
they were like dance? It wasn't
the 2012 one?
Yeah,
where they were like full on like ushering in COVID.
Yeah, they had like the little like floating COVID things around, and the nurses. And when I watched it, I thought, this is so bizarre. Like, why are we being entertained with like, it looks like a hospital scene with nurses dancing around sick children, and they have like huge, things where they were giving people like injections supposedly, but they made it all theatrical, like it was this big dance.
And this last Olympics that they just had in Paris had full on like culty ceremonies.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's cult. So, 2028, when the cult has their big Olympics, you're going to be like going, I'm going to be interested to see what's going on with Pacific Palisades at that time. Is it going to be a bigger and better, beautiful Pacific Palisades with Riviera Country Club just surrounded by beautiful homes? No, I have a feeling it's going to be some big, disgusting 15-minute city.
Right.
And everyone's going to be riding their bikes, and it's going to be like a bunch of illegal immigrants living there.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not as nice as Pacific Palisades used to be.
Right.
What's the rabbit hole that we want to go down next time? Do we have any ideas?
Well, gosh, with so many rabbit holes and so many
little time.
So little time. I don't know. What rabbit hole do you think would be? I guess, you know what? Did we really get into the cognitive dissonance thing? I mean, I know we've touched on it, but I feel like we could just talk forever about that. And
I think that's important, especially as it pertains to dues is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like,
what people see is not what they believe. They're told otherwise.
Like you show them a video and you go, this BMW melted.
Yeah.
Does that happen in a wildfire? And they just go, no, it's climate change.
Yeah.
Things are hotter these days.
Right. The
sun,
fires are hotter.
The sun is closer. Do you know what? Carbon has made it so we're just basically baking and the sun can't get out.
We're baking because of the cow farts and because it's like, the sun is closer because I think maybe we're spinning around faster now. I'm not sure.
There's all kinds of climate change going on. And so
it's happening everywhere all around
cognitive dissonance is that ability for these cult members to just ignore facts and just keep adopting.
And, I have some interesting personal stories about friends and people that I know who were affected by cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. Like Trump and Elon Musk supporters, like they have cognitive dissonance. You go, wait a second. are they doing this and this and this? And they go, shut up.
Hmm.
You don't understand the 4D chess. That's a kind of cognitive
It
dissonance too,
is. It
you
is.
know?
So I think that's a really good topic for our next rabbit
I
hole.
think so too. I think so too. But I think this was interesting because now we at least brought up the dues, you know?
Yeah, we can get more into
We
those
can get
again
more into them,
during the
but
next fire.
exactly. We'll see where they burn down next. We'll take like we'll have like a betting pool and we'll take bets
Oh
and
God.
we'll see who picks the next due. That would be a great like, money making thing. We could just find out who who does the best interpretation of where the next due is going to be,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Because
totally.
I think you can start to kind of figure it out. You can kind of go, well, like maybe New York or San Francisco. San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco, probably. I could totally see
Isn't
that.
that kind of already a 15-minute city?
Well, that's
Yeah.
true.
But they're going to want to get rid of all those big old homes,
There's a
right?
lot of
Big
yeah,
old homes. They'll want to get rid of those and build little
big, huge,
towering apartment
towering,
buildings.
like, what do they call them? High density homes.
Yeah,
So,
with shopping underneath.
oh my God.
Okay,
All right.
so I'm looking forward to the next rabbit hole.
Me
It's
too.
gonna be a good one.
Thank you so much. It was good seeing you
Good
again.
seeing you, Firefly.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.